Hello, everyone. Welcome to a short episode of Inside Fnatic's Brush. Today, we will be covering the final round of playoffs for Spring Split, which saw the losers finals, so you could call it the third place match, and the finals. We had G2 versus Rogue, and the winner, who was Rogue, was facing Mad Lions, and Mad Lions was the victor against all odds after an insane best of five we saw in an insane comeback. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. Obviously, as usual, um, we will be having some of you guys on board if you're willing to share your opinion, have anything special that you'd like to say, and obviously, have a little bit of a conversation because this is a community-focused podcast. So I like to hear what you guys have to say, your hot takes, your opinions, and expectations. So let's get started. Obviously, with the first game, which was it was G2 versus Rogue, where surprisingly everyone was expecting G2, especially when they got knocked down to the losers bracket after an insane performance from Mad Lions, and they got beat 3-1, which was kind of unexpected. I'd say if people thought that Rogue was going to win, it was probably going to be a closer game. At least a full 5 game, but it wasn't the case. And I will be the first one to say that, um, you know, as we know, G2, I mean, it gets told quite a bit that G2 get in their comfort zone once they land in the losers bracket, and especially landing there at this point when they were they were clearly given the favorites since the beginning of the split, and they ended the split first. Everyone's saying they have like an all-star roster, which they have, now with Reckless being in there, and everyone thought they would have like smooth sailing towards the finals. Struggled against Schalke, lost against Mad Lions, not even on the full 5 game, and leaving on the third place by losing against Rogue. Rogue, who in comparison looked really, really strong and were on this upwards trajectory compared to their first game against Mad Lions, where it felt like, in comparison to what they used to do during the best of ones during the regular season, they were not themselves. It felt like they were 10 times underneath their level on their first game. And then when they faced Schalke, they were much more solid, much more focused. It feels like much more on the same wavelength, and we found that level of Rogue that they've shown us throughout the split. And what happened as well is that we had how do you call it? We had their game against G2, and it was, are we going to get the same Rogue who's doing the same great performance, or are we going to get G2 who's like, okay, we're taking things seriously, we were just trolling, we were just playing around, we were just not doing 5 full bans, all the usual excuse when they're not performing. Even people saying that apparently, what's his name, Munder, had uninstalled World of Warcraft. So it's getting pretty serious on that one. All these things happening at the same time, and in the end, it didn't happen as expected. G2 felt completely beside their own level. Not even gonna mention the jungle gap. Like Yankos, as much as people like to meme him, is a very good jungler, but Inspired just Nirvana pathing on this guy. Like you can just say goodbye to your blue buff. It is gone, and this guy loves his blue buffs. He's on there the moment it pops. He's got a timer on it. I'm sure he has a special blue buff clock on the side of his monitor, and he knows where it's going to spawn. And when you're spending the whole game and your only buff is the red buff, and you get free buffed on every rotation, it gets a bit complicated to be able to get to the same level. Now, you could say that they started getting serious when they had like a solid draft and things like this, but um, I just think that we had a very solid, bot lane as well. Hans Sama was going absolutely berserk. Reckless was, not at the level you would expect from someone of his caliber. And just to kind of reflect on, what I've been saying on the past podcast, saying that, while Reckless is playing really well in G2 for sure. I mean, he got MVP of the season, or sorry, of the split, I should say. Um, at the same time, he didn't have that hard carry potential when it's like when his team is not ahead, he's not going to be the guy to, put them on his back and really bring them to the victory. For me, how it felt like is that his team is super ahead, so he can kind of really chill on the back line and just dish his damage on the Sennas and on the Jins who have a poke and can damage you from a screen and a half away, especially Senna when she's like fully stacked in the mid to late game, and you're getting auto attacks. You don't even see her nearby your screen, so when he has all these things around him, he definitely delivers, and he has the most beautiful KDA in the world. But we've seen today that, on the contrary, when all those planets are not aligned on his side, well, it gets a bit more complicated. He's kind of absent. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about this, but for me, I did not see Reckless this game. The person maybe I've seen was a bit Caps. I feel like he was solid. He was maybe the most consistent player on this team. But apart from that, Jankos completely at jungled. Like, it was really bad. I felt bad for Jankos. Really, I would just FF mentally, and it's probably what happened. Wunder, who we've seen getting back to solo queue when it's something he completely despises, and we're just like, oh, he's taken away the training weights now. He's going full Super Saiyan on these guys. It's like, nope, Odo Amne is just keeping him under control, keeping him under leash there, and there's nothing he can do, nowhere where he can actually impact the map whatsoever. And Gab's done a few plays trying to bring the game back in, especially was it in what was it on the first game where they all looked very solid, and there was a quick contrast between the first game where it felt quite dominant in their way of playing, and everyone was like, oh, this is a G2 game. It's gonna be a quick 3-0, maybe 3-on for G2, and then as soon as it came into the second game, it felt like all the switches flipped. It's like, oh well, Rogue was like, okay, we were just testing you on the first game. Now it's time for us to play. So if you look like some of the results, like Jankos not able to be impactful on the Nocturne. You have only Reckless and Caps who somehow had an impact. And then you have Wunder. Even Mickey, I'm quite surprised, was looked more like Hilly-sang on his worst days than Mickey on his regular days. So that was pretty bad. And third game, get completely squashed. More than 10k gold difference. They get nothing from it. Yanko's stuck on the Odier, which is I don't know if it's necessarily a pick for him. I'm just looking at some of the scores here again. I completely forgot how that third game was absolutely dominant, and then the fourth game just felt like it was the conclusion of this whole best of five, where it's like, well, Rogue are just unstoppable now, and now it's just time to close the game and go into the sort of natural evolution of Rogue's increase in power and G2's kind of stagnant performances across the playoffs. So G2 exiting at a third place position, which it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I'll say it because what happens is that you have Reckless who has all these little announcements, everything, you know, I'm gonna win worlds, I'm gonna do it, blah blah blah, can't even win LEC. So how are you expecting to win worlds? Now you can say, they'll come back in summer. That's the future. We'll see. Maybe they won't. Maybe Rogue will be stronger. Maybe Fnatic will be even stronger. Who knows what happens in summer? But right now, with the caliber of team that you have, you know, meta or not meta, I don't care. Reckless kind of, it felt to me like Reckless came into G2 was like, that's a free trophy, baby. That's it. Just give me the medal. You know, just bring it in. And it felt like he didn't have to participate as much. And you know, apart from maybe the first and second game, does anyone remind themselves of seeing him on the last two games of that best of five? He's not able to bring what's necessary to a team when he feels that, there's already all the good elements. You know, I think he said that previously as well. Like he felt like, especially in 2015, you know, there was already Hooney and Reignover who were carrying the team. So he just needs to pick like support ADCs or utility ADCs, or just stay in the back and dish the damage and stay alive. When that's why we didn't see him as much or perform as well in picks like maybe a Kaisa, you know, who asked you to be a bit more of a front line, to be a bit more aggressive, and he was happy to be on like comfort backline picks like the Jhin and the Senna. And at the end of the day, you know, he went from a team who left summer as a second place, and now he's in a third place team. So, you know, it's for me it's funny. It's funny. It's like, well, yeah, and there's something. So that's me just going a little bit of a rant. You'll have to excuse me, but he had his. I don't know if some of you guys watched it, but he had his MVP interview, right, with Lore, and they, you know, they were talking, and there's this narrative of like Reckless took a risk by joining G2. He took a risk by joining G2. I'm just gonna let that, you know, into your brain. I'm gonna repeat it one more time. Reckless, best ADC and LEC at the time, took a risk joining G2, the best European team for the past 3-4 years now. Since when is that an actual narrative that we're trying to put in people's heads? Like, I don't know how G2 manages this, to manage to get their bullshit covered and somehow be some sort of underdog where it's like a risk to join G2. You literally have an all-star roster, a top laner that's considered the best for like the past 2-3 years, a jungler who's been adapting and bringing so much utility and support to his carry lanes. You have the best mid laner in Europe, who's considered to be like the second coming of Faker, if you listen to some people. You know, who's since 2018 is just back to back LEC winner. You have also like top 2, top 3 supports next to you, who you've also solo queued with naturally, even when you were with Fnatic. So there's no like, oh, we have to work on synergy. It's like you're pretty much mates, and he was on your team before. So what risk are you talking about? I just wanted to mention that a little bit, because for me, that is complete nonsense. That is complete nonsense. There is no risk for Reckless with his talent and his level to join a team who's already at the top. I don't know what you guys think about this, but I thought I'd share it a little bit, because when I heard that, I was like, are you serious? Are you seriously? Are you really going to make us believe that Reckless is taking a risk right now? It's like, no, he's joining the best team. He's giving himself the best position, the best situation for him to just grab a trophy pretty much for free. And that's what it feels like, especially when he left Fnatic so late into the off season, right? It's not like after Worlds his mind was already set to join somewhere else. You know, he took part, right? He took part in decision of bringing in Niski. So he was there. He was part of the team. There's literally his see the short video announcement for Niski. He's the one who's narrating the video. Hello, like he was already there when Niski was agreed to join Fnatic, and that was a long discussion. Like, you guys remember, it was like, are we getting Niski? Are we getting Perks? Are we getting Litter? Are we getting some other guy? Who knows? And then we knew that like late into November, and then he leaves. And you don't leave saying, oh, I'm actually done with Fnatic, so I was already out of Fnatic mentally. It's like, nope, I don't like the team. I'm just going to go to a better team now. You know? Oh, but I took a big risk. No, dude. When you take a risk, you think about it for a very, very long time. Like, if I'm going to take a risk, I'm not going to go, like, within less than a week. Oh, I've made my decision. No, I'm going to think about it for at least a month, two, maybe more. Maybe going to reconsider, talk about it to other people. Right? It's like, well, you get Niski, guys. Arrivederci. I'm out, guys. I'm just going to go to G2. There's my mate Caps over there, by the way, and Mickey, who also duo queue quite a bit. So, see, when at the time as well, the rumors was like, oh, don't worry, guys. Don't worry about Reckless. He's staying in despite G2 approaching them. Like, oh, Reckless is like 99.99% sure staying in Fnatic. And then it's like, next thing you know, oh, Fnatic, thank you, Reckless, for being part of our organization, blah, blah, blah. Like, the fuck did that come from? So, yeah. Sorry, I got really sidetracked on this. We're not here to talk about G2 or Reckless. We're here to talk about G2 getting kicked the fuck out of the playoffs, which is just good to see, to be honest. Probably sound petty about it, but it's good to see that it's not just by bringing top players that you automatically win, okay? Obviously, they've always had top players. It's stupid what I'm saying, but it's just like, oh, poaching Reckless, we kill Fnatic, and then we just win again. No. There's up-and-coming players. It's much more exciting to me as well. Like, imagine if it's just G2 winning. Like, imagine the narrative behind that. Like, oh, G2 just have the best players, so they win by default. They win automatically. That's boring. That's some NA bullshit, right? NA just forking out millions on top players from EU. It's like, oh, now we win. Just look at the finals. The finals is literally Alfari versus Perks. And then, like, you have Sven, you have Mithy within coaching staff. I could say Santorin. Like, Santorin played a part for Team Liquid. He didn't play in the finals, but still, he was an active part in it. And that's it. There's, you could also include Jensen to some extent, even though, like, he's fully, like, molded within the NA culture. But that's NA stuff. It's like, well, the most expensive players and the best players, they just win by default. So I'm happy that at least in Europe, it's like, no, it's our rookies who are making the stuff happen. And I actually before I go into the finals, or sorry, talk about the finals, I was wondering if anyone wanted to talk about the third place game. If anyone has to Niski to 100 feet. Yeah, right. Sure did. That is. Listen. I'll tell you one thing. 100 Thieves will not bring Niski in, because 100 Thieves is the type of organization to kick out Damonte to have bloody Ryoma back in. Ryoma, mate. Ryoma. The guy who's so fucking dog, he was getting piled on by everyone, and everyone was memeing him from the moon to back to Earth, and somehow he managed to get back, and they've done fuck all with him. So I don't think Niski, in the first place, is going back to NA. I think he's very happy to be back in EU, and I think he's very back to be in Fnatic. Second thing, Niski is probably our best player right now. And I don't care if people don't want to hear that, but Niski is our best player, along with Upset, right? Bwipo, Selfmade, and Hillisang need to step the fuck up, because they're supposed to be the guys who are in the team for some time now. Selfmade was our star player last year, amazing at Worlds. What's happened to him this play? It's not been to his level. Bwipo had a good mid-season at one point when he popped out on his Riven and other picks. What's going on now? and Hylissang is just going back to his bad habits. Is literally reminding me of his last split with Unicorns of Love, where he would just like it felt like he was like purposely inting it. If you guys remember back at the time, like a lot of people had actually some criticism when Hylissang joined us in 2018, because in 2017 he was not looking fresh in summer split of 2017. He was just like we knew that he could be really good, but he was showing a very, very bad picture. And for me, I got flashbacks of that, really. And it felt like he was just kind of done with Unicorns of Love and he wanted to move. So, I don't think he's in the same mindset, obviously. But it's just his level of performance. That's where I feel he's like today. But, yeah, no, I don't know where that rumor's coming from. Listen, it's easy, guys. If it doesn't come from Jacob Wolf, it's bullshit. Or maybe some of the Spanish guys. Is it Bloop? Bloop, his name. Bloop's very good. Jacob Wolf, and even like Wulu. This guy's actually been solid for this off season. So I'd say listen to these three guys. See what's happening. Clipping this when you're wrong, home. Dude, you'll be clipping your fucking nails down to the bone if we lose Niski. That's what's gonna happen, dude. I mean, there's just so many things. There's just so many. Like I don't understand. I mean, if there's rumors to be had, right? It's definitely not for Niski or Upset, right? I'd be more concerned if we heard something about our other three guys, but Niski and Upset, you can be sure it's all Gucci right now. Okay, not to do some brand placement, but yeah, it's all fine. But I think was it Lydon who wanted to jump in? Did you want to say something, my brother? No. I don't know. I saw you said actually yes, Matt Scott. What was it? Were you referring to something else? Was about the credibility of the rumor. Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, if no one wants to jump in on the third place match, G2 versus Rogue, I guess we'll just talk about this awesome finals. Really, I really enjoyed it personally. I don't know about you guys, but even though Fnatic was not playing, I was really excited to watch this finals. There's two things for me. It was like Elyoya versus Inspired. I think I'm a fan of Elyoya, and I like as I play jungle myself. It's very interesting to see him play, especially plays Volibear. I love Volibear personally, and see what he's actually able to do. And I mean, he was impressive. He was impressive in his execution. Really happy that he got Rookie of the Split. Actually, here's something I would like to talk about. The top three voted Rookie of the Split, right? So it was Elyoya, Treats, and Trimby, I believe. Can someone confirm that for me? I believe it was Trimby. No, I'm sure it's Trimby. But I think those are three very good selections right here. Elyoya definitely deserves it. This guy's been, kind of the revelation for the split. I think I've rarely seen a rookie get to like top two, maybe top three of his position within his first split, right? Like I'm not even sure. Maybe you can say like Broxa or Caps when they started. If were they that good? I'm not really sure, but he's really been impressive, and just going straight to his first to his first finals and winning it, obviously. But big matchup, Elyoya versus Inspired, who completely jungle gapped. What's his name? Yankos. I don't know why I completely blanked on this for a second, but it's it was interesting to see these guys face off, and then obviously two teams who never made it to finals. No Fnatic, no G2. Let's go, dude. The new era. That's the new narrative now. The new era. Goodbye, old kings, new kings, and the veterans whatsoever. New era. But it's much more exciting. I don't know what you guys think. Seriously. Like, did you guys have fun watching this? I had fun. Like, I was genuinely excited. And when Rogue was like, I was actually, hey, okay, I'll be honest. When Rogue was 2-0 up, I was actually going to be really sad if it was just going to be a classic 3-0, right? Because Mad Lions played so well, in my opinion, during their upper bracket moves. And then it was like, oh, well, no, now they just lose 0-3. And I was going to be, oh, come on. Like, it's cool. I'm happy for Rogue. I'm happy for Odoamne. You know, Odoamne definitely deserves to lift a trophy at some point. This guy, you know, he's been constantly fighting, constantly proving, constantly playing at the top level. Not necessarily being the flashiest player, but he's been on the scene for so long and he's been so consistent. And it's like, oh, he gets rewarded with a trophy finally. The guy was so emotional when he qualified for the finals. You know, it means so much for him as well. And you know, it's I don't. For me, there's like so many interesting parts instead of just, oh, it's Fnatic trying to get back their trophy and G2 trying to defend it. Bash all that. It's like, just leave it. There is like the rookie of the split facing the most insane jungler the EU has seen. It was Odoamne finally getting his trophy against Armut, who's been a revelation since he's come from the Turkish league, and the guy who has the Armut stare, you know. And then you have in the mid lane some of the best upcoming rookies when they started, Humanoid versus Larson. And then in the bot lane you have Kaiser and Trimby, the probably top 2, top 3 supports. Trimby coming fresh from the EU Master scene, and then coming in being one of the top supports. Kaiser having an amazing split, and then you have Karzi, the sort of mad ADC who's been quite solid for his team, against Hans Sama, who's never been so aggressive since he's joined Rogue, it feels like. So there was just so many factors, and you're like, yes, finally, it's so refreshing. And I was like, there's no way this ends on a 3-0. And in the end, we get a beautiful 5 games, reverse sweep. And, you know, as Fnatic fans, we know how that feels. So we can only, you know, share our pain with Rogue and be compassionate with them. But what a comeback. What a comeback. And, you know, that game 3 was a bit close, but it felt like game after game after game after game. Mad Lions was kind of chipping away on Rogue, and it felt like whoever was going to win Game 3 was just going to win it all. So it was like either obviously Rogue wins it and it's a 3-0 GG, or if Mad wins it, it was just going to flip the switch completely on them, and that's what happened. And Armut went completely berserk on his. I mean, they gave him Wukong twice, right? Which is his pocket pick, and that was kind of GGing yourself into a loss. And then they give him the Gnar as well, which that's where he had his insane like 3-man ult to win the game against G2. But on top of that, I think that when they went into game 5, Rogue needed a massive mental boost to come back into the game. And what happened was that Rogue was actually winning, like really hard at the beginning of game 5. Don't know if you guys remember. Like, Larson on his rise had multiple kills on a scaling champion already in the early to mid game, and everyone was like, well, that's GG, just FF. And by some miracle, Mad Lions came back, and the way they came back, if you guys also watched the Mad Lions G2 game, is that they won on the same way. Is that this hyper aggressiveness where it's like, you don't get to do anything on the map. Like, you don't get to move out of your jungle. And even if you find you on your jungle, you're dead. And that hyper aggressiveness of being present all over is what brought them back into the game. And in the end, Mad Lions lifts the trophy. That's kind of insane. So that was a super exciting. For me, it's easily like top 3 European finals. right? EULCS, LEC combined. And I would go as far as to say that it was as hype as Origin Fnatic 2015. I know I've spoken about it to other people. They've not necessarily agreed. Lydon doesn't agree. I can see that, but there, obviously it's on another level and it's with a different narrative. But it was as intense. I feel like because the games could have gone either way. Like game two, Mad Lions could have won it and Rogue brought it back. Game three was very close until Mad Lions won it. Game four was a bit more favored for Mad Lions, but game five it was gonna be Rogue until Mad Lions brought it back, and it was like super close. So, I mean, I can understand why you don't agree. Like, obviously, the Origin Fnatic Best of Five in summer 2015 was legendary, but there's definitely some level of comparison to this. So, OG Fnatic wasn't full of froze. I mean, right. Okay. For me, like this meta is super open to froze because of the new itemization, the insane damage, and it feels like the single mistake that you can make just gets hard punished. I don't know, maybe that's just my point of view, that's more like my solo queue point of view, because I just run it down on a regular basis, so maybe that's what's happening. But I don't know. For me it feels like 2015 it was just less prone to froze, whereas I feel like already within the split, or already like within the regular split, we've seen so many froze. I mean, Fnatic as well, obviously, but some other teams where they were ahead like multiple K gold, and then they somehow managed to lose. And it's how do I say that? For me, it didn't feel like it was really froze in the sense where it's Rogue who was doing the mistakes towards Mad Lions, but it was Mad Lions' aggressiveness where they were taking advantages, and Rogue was kind of taken by surprise by Mad Lions, despite Rogue being so far ahead. So I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch the game. Maybe I'm talking complete bullshit, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe actually, is there anyone that wants to kind of share their opinion on this? I need someone to bring in their voice here to because I'm maybe mistaken on the game. So if there's anyone who wants to participate, bring in their opinion. They're more than welcome. I'm looking at the chat right now. Anyone with a thumbs up who says me, or everybody's just being shy again. Oh, Dutch, yes, let's go, dude. With great pleasure. Let me bring you on.
Come on, man, Lyndon.
Yeah, dude.
So,
What's up? How's it
Pete,
going, Dutch?
thank you for doing these. I haven't been able to join them, but I
I'm
finally am here.
I'm really happy to have you onboarded. How's it going?
Dude, it's been going great. We've been busy, casting some FCL.
I
So everyone
know.
watched that this weekend.
I
It's gonna be
know.
great. But yeah, like I think the general consensus, right? If we go towards the finals, it's that last game was Rogues to win, and I feel like they clamped up, right? The pressure got to them, and I don't really think we should be able to blame them that much. Yes, there are pro players. Yes, it's their job. But like, I see so much blame coming down on specifically Hans Sama, who was always on the backline in most of these fights, and I just see like all of Mad Lions being way more proactive with their plays, being way more communicative. Like if everyone says go, they're all going, and it's hard at a finals like that with the pressure that Rogue was dealing with, evidently, to really respond to that. It's I don't know, man. Like I kind of feel for Rogue. I feel like they should have finished it out. They should have clutched it out. And I actually do have one more question for you, right? Because we all saw the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think, like, before MSI starts, who do you think would have performed better at MSI between both of these teams?
That's a very good question. Huh. It's hard because usually when you talk about international performance, yeah, the variable on which you rely on is usually international experience. Now we know that out of Mad Lions, there's 4 out of 5 people. There's just Elyoya basically hasn't gone to Worlds, but basically like Armut is the one who, let's say, kicked out Oromi out of Mad Lions to take his spot, and it's kind of sad in a sense because it feels like this move has now been validated now that they've won the trophy. Where at the time it was kind of memed because like, oh, you're just it's like if you can't beat them, join or have them join your team. So yeah, it feels like Mad Lions they have like a very strong world experience in the sense that even though they didn't make it to the main group, I feel like the sort of bad performance that they had really impacted them, and they kind of came in with a grudge into the next split, and maybe they're gonna go in with that same rage, hopefully, into what do you call it, into MSI. Now, with that said, you look over to Rogue, and you have someone like Odoamne, who, in my opinion, might be a bit more solid against top laners. You know, we know that there's Damwon or DK, Damwon Kia, whatever you want to call them, who's coming in. There's going to be either RNG or FPX, who also have really good top laners, and I feel like Armut, even though he's played against, I don't know if I should necessarily say the same caliber of players, is not going to have a good time because he's a bit more aggressive, he's a bit more crazy, and I feel he's going to get hard outplayed. Whereas I feel Odoamne, he's more like restrained and he can still have an impact and be relevant to his team, and not like completely intonate. Like he could be maybe 20-30 CS behind, but will still have an impact for his team. So that's maybe more of like an isolated, player. But you have obviously Hansama has been against the likes of SKT, so very strong international performance. So it's kind of hard to say. I would say, okay, so if I had to give an opinion, I'd say Mad Lions in terms of their international experience are better. But Rogue feel like they would be more stable against top teams who would basically punish them for any mistakes that they would make, and probably more solid. And the group stage will be best of one round robin. So I can't really make a decision. I think it really depends on the personality. Now maybe we're going to see Mad Lions being really good, bring in that aggressiveness, who's just going to take the top teams by surprise, and they won't know how to answer, just like Rogue did. And I really agree on what you said. It's like Mad Lions brought the fight to them. It's like, oh, you're ahead, like prove it how far ahead you are in gold and how you can beat us. And Rogue was like, oh, chill, we're just scaling, dude. It's fine, we don't need to fight. And they're like, no, we're fighting right now. And that's why I don't feel like Rogue lost more than Mad Lions really brought it to them and said, okay, if you're not going to win the game, we're going to win it for you. So if you're just waiting for scaling, no, we've got a timing, and we're going to take over. So yeah, I don't know, do you have who would you think would actually be better between Mad Lions and Rogue?
I completely agree with the statements you've made. I think Rogue in general though would be a little bit more stable, especially in a best of 5, especially against the matchups you've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really afraid for, excuse me for saying this, Shadow. Like we saw what happened with Mad Lions last time, and I've heard some rumors of like what happened for Shadow, and it ain't pretty. But like if that happens again, and that could be a coaching issue as well, right? Because your players need to be on top of your game, and you need to make sure that they know what the meta is and that they're practicing and that they're on top of their game. And something just went completely wrong, and that could happen again if it were met.
Yeah, so that's a very good point. I've actually been thinking about that as well. So obviously, I don't know about the rumors. I don't know if you necessarily want to share them here. What I want to say, maybe that's related to those rumors, is that Shadow kind of got outed as a Lee Sin OTP at the end of Worlds, where it's like that's the only thing he can play. Now, maybe what happened, and maybe that's what you're referring to, is that he was just forced onto these picks, and he can play. He wasn't allowed to play anything else, or they didn't train for anything else. I don't know. Maybe that's just a hypothesis. I think Elyoya is just miles ahead of Shadow. Like Shadow was very good mechanically, but it felt like either his coaching made it that he had a very small champion pool, or he was just like so fixed on Lee Sin that he wouldn't be able to perform at anything else. Whereas Elyoya, we've seen him on a very wide, pool of champions that can, carry, bring utility, but also be frontline, with like an Udi or Volibear. And especially Volibear, who falls off quite hard into like the mid to late game. I found him to still be quite impactful, obviously within a team environment, but him just hitting the chem tank, hitting the Q for the run and stun, and he was just like running, but running on the same place before he could like isolate someone, and then they would just pile onto him. He would bring the ultimate and the storm, and they would delete one of the carries, and he would still be able to frontline afterwards. So I on that specific issue, I don't think they'll have the same problem. But yeah, just to come back to what you were saying, and the sort of similar argument is that I think there's going to be much more volatility in Mad Lions' playstyle, where they're definitely going to be way more punished against teams who are just better in general, whether it be mechanically or just in terms of macro, where they will expect their plays a bit more, and they won't be able to take them by surprise. So it's kind of a coin flip situation. It's either teams like well, again, Damwon, who are very well structured but are very good at team fighting as well. Are they gonna not be able to counter the sort of chaotic style that Mad Lions can have when they decide to fight? And within the calculations of Damwon, they're like, oh, this shouldn't be a fight that Mad Lions wins, and suddenly they're 3 kills down. They're like, what the hell just happened to us? So I don't know. Maybe I'm just overestimating, Mad Lions' potential here, but I think it could happen to some extent. I'm not sure who's in their group. I'd have to look again, but yeah, I think I'm sure they'll make it to playoffs for sure. Or maybe not actually. Let me
It's a bit of a coin flip, no? Like
it's really a bit of a coin flip. I just need to check their group. Okay, so they are. So it's Mad Lions. It's funny. They're going against the Turkish champions, CB Law, so Brazil, and PCS. So that's Southeast Asia, right? Pacific Championship Series. Yeah, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Yeah, so it's the new Southeast Asia structure with Gary and I and everything. Yeah, so in a sense, it's a bit of an easy group. Well, it should be. I don't know who's doing well in TCL right now. Is it still what's their name? With the blue owl, what's their name again?
super massive.
Supermassive. Yeah. Supermassive. Actually, I'm just gonna look at the brackets. Sorry, guys. This is me just doing my homework. Group stage. Yep, Supermassive is first. He told you. Istanbul.
But I think it's Istanbul versus Fenerbahce in the finals, if I'm not mistaken.
Fenerbahce. The classic. We're gonna have 1907 Fenerbahce and the casters. That's a good moment. Okay, wow. So Supermassive actually lost against Fenerbahce. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe Fenerbahce are bringing the heat. Who's in the team this year? This is me doing my podcast analysis. I hope you appreciate the pre work that I'm doing. It's a mess.
There's too many regions. I'm gonna give you it. Like there's just too many regions.
It's a full Turkish team as well. I'm actually impressed. There's no like there's no Koreans.
There's a Dutch person.
It's full active squad. It's just Turkish. So that's cool.
They're still with a Dutch person, so they're strong. I'm just putting it out there. There's some top later, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Apparently, Unkan. I don't know.
Let's see. I can't see their Liquipedia is not giving it to me, so you're just wrong. That there's no stop living in your fantasy. If it's not Liquipedia, then it's not true. GG. But yeah. So just back on topic real quick. Yes. So Mad Lions easy group, so they should make it to playoffs. We'll see who they face in playoffs. I wonder if Turkish League can, bring in the heat. But who else would they be facing? Like Brazil, yeah, sometimes. BRTT, does he still play? And then I mean SCA usually are like the wild cards who play spoilers. So or is that VCS? No, that's VCS. Guys, I'm just gonna stop talking about this. Okay, easy
I
group
guess.
for Mad Lions. They'll make it
Yeah.
into playoffs of the MSI. Then it's whatever. Really, they can. If they don't win MSI, we won't hold it against them. But they have to make playoffs. They'll have an easy group. I don't expect them to struggle really until maybe they get to face LPL or LCK, and that's it. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna keep you. Do you want to talk about MSI as well?
Well, one thing, yeah, sure. One thing I do want to note because in chat, right, before we continue with MSI, and I
Mm.
think it goes on to MSI as well. It's like, um, Armut only plays Nar, but I don't I understand where this narrative comes from, right? Like,
You mean
yes,
his
he only plays Nar.
narrative? God.
Oh my god. That's a good one. I'm gonna give you that. I understand where this narrative comes from, and I agree that he played a lot of Nar in playoffs, but like people need to realize that Nar is so busted as a blind pick, and not even as a blind pick in China specifically. We have seen him like being played into his counters.
Yeah.
Like that champion is just so strong right now. Like it's just a free pick, and if you're gonna play weak side top, which kind of happens when you need to cover for Garzi, why not pick it? I don't understand. Like, why is this narrative a thing? It's so
Uh,
fine. It works.
maybe because what's his name? LS said that Nar was a bad pick, so you can't touch it anymore. That's a no-no.
It's true. It's
Can't.
true.
But yeah, no, I agree. It's I think it's actually weird how there's not been more priority by more teams on the NAR. It feels like in LEC, and with that, the people like Armud who definitely put it as a priority, and he's done really well with them. Like
Yeah.
he's like the for me in the playoff, there's been like two clutch moments. There was the one on the the sort of river brush that goes into the bot side, where he goes around the gravity field from Caps. He jumps, stuns like two or three people, and then they literally win the game off of this. And then on game five, on the top side jungle blue side, he jumps as he evolves, and I actually looks so good as well because when Nar jumps, he evolves, and he can do like a move while he's in midair, and he stuns them
Yeah.
on the little like rock mountain that's on the sort of top side, where the blue buff is, and that just wins them the game, and it's just so hype when it gets. It's like, oh my god, Harwood with the 3-man stun. That was really good. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be banned off of him. We'll have to see how that comes off. But it'll be interesting to see how they perform. And yeah, if I can just keep you for a bit for MSI since we're on the
Sure.
topic here. I'm just going to open my Wikipedia again. So obviously we don't have all the teams who are available. Sorry, who have finished their tournaments. But so far we've had NA, so we've had Cloud9, which Cloud9's kind of cute actually. There's like a mini G2 reunion with Perk, Sven, and Mithy. That's kind of cool. Fudge. It'll be actually interesting to see Fudge on an international stage, and Vulcan as well because they missed out last year. There's Damwon, Kia, which one of the favorites. Obviously, they have a very very scary team. There's Detonation focused me from the Japanese league, and I really like them. Actually, I don't know why they I think they're an exciting team. There's Infinity Esports from Latam, and there's Mad Lions. There's Pentanet, which is like one of the Oceanic leagues. So apparently there's like two sort of Oceanic leagues. One that's done by ESL, and then there's one that's more or less done by Riot. I'm not too sure, but it's more like a minor league. I'm not too sure. So this one has been introduced. LPL, so that'll be decided on Sunday, I believe.
Yeah,
RNG
that's
versus
that's
FPX. Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah.
So that's gonna be Pog. And then yeah, so we're just missing on China, Brazil, Russia. Probably be Unicorns of Love as it is at every international tournament. Like, are they? When's the finals? Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be them. I'm gonna check the brackets. Yep, it's UOL versus Crowd. I don't know. I don't know who
Sure.
these
I
guys are.
mean,
Unicorns of Love weren't even first during the regular split. That's interesting.
I'm pretty sure they missed. Well, Gadget is gone, which is like their main player, right?
Yeah,
Um.
there you
So
see. Yeah,
yeah,
he's in the EU Masters.
yeah,
Can't remember
exactly.
which team, by the way, but yeah, he's in there.
It wasn't it Mouse? Was it Mouse? I think it's Mouse.
Yes, yes, yes. It is. It is. So who's in there now? They still have Boss and Ahahachik. They still have Nomads in the mid lane.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I think.
okay. That's funny. They actually have a French ADC.
Yep.
Huh. And they still so yeah. So it's just their ADC who changed actually. So they still have Santas as a support.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so let's see. So we have Russia. Yeah, so we have League of Legends. No, no. Okay, no. Pacific is SCA then, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Okay, I see it now. Okay, I see it now. Okay, that's just me being a dummy.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together now. And there's TCL, obviously Turkish League, and there's VCS. So that's Hong, no, Hong Kong. No, what is it? Is it Hong Kong?
No, it's
Vietnam.
Gam.
It's Vietnam, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's Vietnam,
So
so probably Gam again. They have been
Gam.
stomping their way through playoffs.
Or could we have the return of Buffalo Soldiers? What's their name again? Wild Buffalo Chicken Wings? What is it?
Well, they're called Saigon Buffalo now.
Yes. Oh, Psycho. What was their name before? It was Buffalo something. Because I remember, what's his name, Young Buck, calling them Buffalo Soldiers when we were facing them. I can't remember their old name. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Fengvu Buffalo. Oh wait, it was Young Generation. Oh yeah, it was Young Generation before. Oh my god, I feel like a boomer. I'm like, oh, I remember when they were called Young Generation. You young snipper snappers don't know. But yeah, so actually, let's talk about MSI really quickly. Some interesting teams going in. I think the favorites are kind of determined. Obviously, we're gonna have probably LPL, LCK finals. LPL is coming in with a vengeance, and LCK is just LCK. It's just that. I think it's a testimony that Damwon has made it to MSI, and they're just, you know, straightforward to since Worlds, still the best team in LCK and probably the world. So I guess obviously my question is not who do we expect to win, but do we expect this MSI to be like challenging or to have spoilers really?
Well, I think realistically, Dalmon Kia not really being, contested by any of their wins at all. I don't think they have been challenged. I haven't watched a whole bunch of LCK, but basically what LCK wants to do is like kind of wait for Drake, and then whenever there's a response to them, like not fighting a Drake or like trading around the map, most of the teams don't really know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Dalmon Kia could be, especially with the loss of Naguri, could be looking towards like a big wall that is LPL right now. I have been watching a whole lot of LPL, so I am very much biased. But FPX is looking damn scary. I don't think
Yeah.
they're gonna like. I don't think RNG can win that. FPX is looks so strong, man.
Second coming of Doinby right now, like his
Yeah.
semi-final games. Holy God! And this guy is at his top form. He is super super scary, dude. Yeah, I'm also expecting FPX to win this weekend, but yeah, it's that's just the thing. Is like usually I kind of like the plain format because it's nice to see like the teams from the minor regions at least get to play against teams on the sort of same level. Even though there's also some discrepancy between minor regions, but at least it's somewhat competitive. It just feels like because I'm guessing because of COVID, they just want to go straight into the group format. It's unless maybe again I'm not necessarily aware as you've seen about who's doing what in the minor regions. There's some really like interesting teams who while they might not win it all, they might actually be able to challenge some top teams. It feels like this year is just so stacked. I feel we're back to like the Asian dominance as we used to have a couple of years ago, and to the point where obviously I mean Europe's going to try their best. NA is the NA. Like people are saying, oh, Cloud9's gonna do well. That it's NA. Just forget about it, man. It's NA.
Dude, I know, I genuinely do. Like, I agree with the people. I think Farch is the only like weak point of C9. Like, they have the perks factor, and I know we're all Fnatic fans, and we're like, oh, dude, it's perks, but he genuinely does have that kind of leading ability where there's something special, especially like into LPL teams, and well, that's actually kind of like it's an iffy thing to say, but like where you get skill checked every single time, you need someone like that to be there.
Now, for sure, and I think despite Perks not necessarily playing at his best, I think what he brings in a sort of mental approach and also in terms of we would call like motivational approach as
Yeah.
well to his team is something that G2 maybe didn't consider as much. Maybe no, I'm just again um, putting ideas out there, but uh, I don't know. For me, I mean, just kind of a side remark here is that when people are saying, oh, G2 got Fnatic from Reckless, for me it's like no, G2 lost Perks to C9. For me, that's like if you put them in the balance, it's like Reckless from Fnatic or G2 to C9 is like, oh yeah, we're definitely Perks here, because if Perks was there in the losers bracket, I'm not sure if G2 would have lost this hard. Talk
I
about the
agree.
meta whatsoever. When Perks is within D2, fuck the meta. He transcends the meta. It's like he brings in the motivation and rallies in the troops and finds those little things to clutch it up. When they played against SKT at Worlds and everything, it's like you think that the G2 with Reckless would have won against SKT and clutched it up. No. It's because Perks was there. And when Perks is there, it's like there's some mental connection that is made between the five of them, and they just become so good with each other. So yeah, that's just like a side rant, but yeah, I think it'll be obviously interesting to see what C9 are able to do. If NA can bring a good performance, we've seen them before back in 2016. CLG. You would have never said these guys are gonna make finals of MSI and beat RNG, and yet they still did it. So anything can happen. I feel like. I still think that having watched the NA finals, they still have their patented NA RAM and their god awful macro where it's just like we look at each other in the eyes and it's like you attack us, we attack you. How do we work it out? Do we handshake? And until basically the strongest teams or the team with the best mechanical players like wins it. So no, I think we'll probably talk more about MSI once we have all the teams. It'll give us a better picture. I know and I've seen that people want me to cover MSI despite Fnatic not being part of it. So,
So
the community has cracked the whip on my back. And it is what it is. So I will execute myself and will try to bring the best. I'm not sure about the schedule for Worlds, so that will for Worlds for MSI, sorry. So that will also impact the date of what do you call it? of the podcast. So
It starts the 6th of May. So there you have it.
yeah. It starts in May, but then I think there's like games throughout the week. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I unfortunately have a job on the side to which I have to attend
No
to.
way, dude.
I know that's it.
No way.
Who would
This
have this?
doesn't pay you enough?
I mean, I'm just waiting for this podcast to bring in the big cash. And once I get those sponsored, dude, I'm waiting to get into beef mode. I'm saying it's just Jack Links. If you're watching, I'm here.
There's so much white wall that can be covered up with
Exactly,
logos,
dude.
man.
I'm working. I'm trying to get those games. I mean, hello. That's where I'm at right now. I need the beef, dude. So call me. That's what I'm saying. Protein shake stuff like this. But yeah, I guess that'll be more in the long term. So I'll keep you guys posted anyways on when the podcast will be done. The thing is, like, I feel um, I feel like there's more people like during the weekdays in the evening. And I mean, the few ones I've done like on the Thursdays and the Fridays, there's been a lot of people, and I've been very happy because I get to bring in a lot of people. Like Dutch is the first time he's coming in, even though like he's a prime member of this community. So better late than never. So we'll see. If the schedule allows it, I'll try to do it within the week. Otherwise, it'll have to be a weekend recap, and hopefully you guys will tune in. But yeah, I think that's about it in terms of MSI. Is there any last points, last elements you'd like to bring into this, Dutch?
Um, Dude, I'm excited. Like, I think I hate that I'm gonna say this because as soon as I say this, it's not gonna happen. But this could be like one of the closest MSIs we've seen like in a really, really long
Yeah,
time.
I think so. You think it's gonna be that close?
Yeah, I genuinely think so because like Dom and Kia hasn't been contested, so we don't really know how
Hmm.
strong they are going to be. We saw FPX falter throughout the group stages as well of
Hmm.
LPL, where sometimes they just filled like hard. Matt can bring that wild card that you were talking
Hmm.
about if they show up to play, and then Cloud9 has the perk sector, man. So
Yeah. I see. Yeah, I guess so. Well, I guess we'll have to be on the lookout in May and see if what you're saying actually proves itself to be a reality. But yeah, I guess again we'll do a longer, like, probably I mean a more MSI focused podcast on MSI to talk about all the teams and see the potential spoilers that could happen during the game. But in any case, Dutch, thank you for coming in and for covering both the finals and MSI. Very happy to have you again in the future. Make sure to come back.
I will. As long as you're doing this, I will come back some days. Thank
Love
you for
it.
doing that.
No problem, dude. I appreciate it. I'm
Very
just
fun.
gonna put you here, and then I'm bringing you back. There you go. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're gonna end it here for today. This one way longer than I expected. Actually, I thought we were just gonna do like a 30-minute one, but there's quite a lot to talk about within those two games and the small preview of MSI. In any case, guys, thank you for tuning in today. There's quite a bit of you. Really happy that you're coming in, that you're still enjoying the podcast. So much so that you want me to cover MSI, but I still love you guys. Don't worry about it. I'll be happy to do MSI as long as you tune in or you watch this VOD on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, if you can actually follow the channel, that would be nice. That way, you'll be alerted every time the VOD comes in after it's spent like 5 hours uploading on my shitty countryside French internet. I hope you appreciate what I do for you guys. So yeah, click the bell button, buy my t-shirts, Jack's links if you're watching, send me the money. And yeah, I'll see you guys. I don't know if I'll see you next week, but I'll see you on the next episode. It'll be announced as usual. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And always Fnatic. Thank you guys. Love you.